Happy spooky season, heroes and force users of all ages, and welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. As always, I'm Dino Nicandros, and I'm joined by Daniel Dawson.
Here's Daniel.
Alyssa is no longer with us.
Poor
God rest
thing.
her soul. No, I actually don't think the three of us like each other much anymore, because it's hard to get us all in the same room.
God.
But this is a byproduct of coming out of the COVID shadow.
Yes.
And life has returned, and we are all happy for that, and we miss Alyssa very much. But today, Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. It's a Halloween special. Lego Halloween special. In addition to running the gamut of all of our favorite spooky moments in Star Wars, we're going to keep it in the Star Wars theme to celebrate the Halloween weekend. So come along with us, won't you? By God, we're Star Wars fans.
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
I am Iron.
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Happy spooky season to you, Daniel.
Oh, happy spooky season to you, Dino.
You're doing something extra spookylicious this weekend. Tell everyone about it.
Oh my goodness, it is very spookalicious. So, yeah, for those of you that are have just joined the podcast and don't know, Dino and Alyssa and I, we worked on a show at Disneyland called Frozen Live at the Hyperion, and yeah, and so the show got canceled after the pandemic started. Very, very sad. All of us were like, well, maybe it'll come back. Of course it's not. But but one day I got a phone call from Disney in Florida. I was just like, and my heart dropped to my stomach because I was thinking in my head, uh-oh, is it happening? Is it finally happening?
Do I have to move to Florida?
Yeah. Oh, shit. It was sadly not about Frozen or anything of the like, but very cool, wonderful event that's happening here in LA. It's the Nightmare Before Christmas concert with Danny Elfman and Billie Eilish? Question mark?
That's great.
She's playing Sally, and she's surprisingly perfect, and has this gorgeous little soprano voice. It's a really special evening, and of course Weird Al Yankovic is there, and Paul Rubens, who is Pee-wee Herman for those of you that don't know his name, and Ken Page, who's Deuteronomy on Broadway in Cats.
So great.
But yeah, it's a crazy evening. So we are doing a very I'm a part of it tonight. Jack Skellington is going to be there in full form. It's a giant 12-foot puppet. And me and my friend Danny Montooth are gonna be puppeteering, and oh my god, this thing is insane. It looks so damn cool.
It's so cool.
But yeah, Friday night sold out, but there's still tickets available on Halloween, so if you want to come and see it. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would want to do anything else on Halloween, because it's kind of the perfect thing in my
I would agree with you, and I think that I still maintain the Hollywood Bowl is the best venue to see a concert at in the world.
100%. That being said, they had to change venues this year for some reason, and now it's in the Bank of California Stadium in L.A.
Right, you actually had mentioned that. My apologies. But I've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas at the Hollywood Bowl before, but my sister went
Also
a
same.
couple of years ago, and one of her favorite things ever.
It's such a
quite
fun
the spectacle.
It's I mean, just seeing, and there's a couple other fun surprises that they have in store. But yeah,
it's great.
It's cool.
Oh, I guess Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, and that's why Billie Eilish is there.
Billie Eilish,
yeah,
right.
She is. Oh gosh, she's somewhere, but she's filming something and being famous and wonderful. I mean, it's funny. Like, I got to meet Billie Eilish. Was like, also, I met Billie Eilish in the most stupid of ways. Like, I was wearing like this idiotic black unitard that like I look like
That's how
Kim
it happens.
Kardashian at the the VMAs or whatever the hell that was. She and or was it Met Gala? That's what it was. And I'm just like, hi, Billie Eilish.
That's how it happens, isn't it?
I mean, she kind of laughed. I think she understood like that. The situation was awkward and hilarious. But
that's amazing.
Just great. But also I like, no offense to Billie Eilish whatsoever, but I think that if I had met what's her face instead, I would have
Catherine
like,
O'Hara.
Ooh, I don't think I would have been able to be a human in that.
But
moment.
Catherine O'Hara strikes me as the person that wouldn't think twice about eating you what you were wearing.
Oh yeah, she's like,
how
oh yeah,
ridiculous
I
it's
wore
like,
that
of course.
last Thursday.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's pretty.
Well,
fun.
congratulations on that. That's going to be a lot of
Thank
fun,
you.
and I wish I was in town to see it.
Same.
To hell with you and all of your dreams.
To hell with all that.
And if you are a weary traveler in Southern California looking for something to do, go check out Alyssa in the 10,000 shows she's doing at Knott's Berry Farm.
Literally
theme park.
10,000.
I mean, she's running the joint at this point.
It is her berry farm.
It's Alyssa's farm, Berry
Alyssa's
Farm.
berry farm.
It might as well be because they've invested quite a bit of time in her, and they were wise to do so because she is their single greatest asset. You heard it here
100%.
first. But we're talking some Star Wars spookiness. Getting back to our namesake a little bit here. Starting with this Lego special, which was released on Disney Plus, called Terrifying Tales. It was directed by Ken Cunningham and written by David Shane. And it's kind of a fun non-canon.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you have to put the
It's not canon.
you have to put the advisory out there that it's not canon.
It was like, strangely enough, like our own little our like Star Wars What If episode.
Yeah. Well, and they've done that. We were talking about it with Visions, and this is more geared towards
The spooky.
kids. But
and
but
also the young at heart.
also the young at heart.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. I don't think. No, it's a lot of fun, and it is just that. It's kind of like playing in the sandbox with your action figures and putting them in crazy scenarios. We've all done it, and that's exactly what they do here, and it's quite a bit of fun. And there was a surprisingly amazing star talent attached.
Oh my God! Yes.
As far as voices go, and I'm thinking first and foremost of Tony Hale as Vinny. Which can we just I just have to say, like, plucking that character out of Rogue One, this is Darth Vader's little attendant in Rogue One.
It's just wonderful.
Basically the equivalent of the guy who holds the towel out while Vader gets out of the shower and the Bacta tank. How great that he's been living in this decrepit castle.
Absolutely wonderful.
And Tony Hale is one of the funniest people on the planet, so
good.
a lot of fun to have him. Kristen Slater as Ren.
Yes.
The former leader of the Knights of Ren, who they kind of got a new... That's why this isn't canon, but they got a kind of a new origin story, or rather Ben got a new origin story. And
I'm sure it was, relatively similar. But
Right.
I love the subtle but not so subtle references to like existing horror films, because like that episode was like a very Lost Boys episode, right?
yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, just it also, very Lost Boys, very coming of age, 1980s, 1990s.
It's just like, of all things, it's just so.
The sax solo while they're all.
I die.
Oh, it's just utterly ridiculous.
It's just so silly.
In only a way that Lego could get away with.
Truly, truly.
You had Sam Witwer back as Darth Maul.
God bless
'cause
him.
You're not having anyone else ever do Darth Maul.
No, not well.
Not well. Barbara Goodson, she voiced Mother Talzin again after all of her many appearances in Star Wars animated shows. So back as Talzin, who of course, would be in a creepy Halloween episode.
Of course.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, when we get to the discussion on like Star Wars creepiness, I kind of forgot about the animated offerings. And the Night Sisters are like
most of my things are about the animated.
Okay,
offerings.
great. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
James Arnold Taylor back with his little cameo of Obi-Wan, great. Matt Sloan is kind of like the resident animated Darth Vader voice. He's done it for all the video games in recent years, so great to have him back. Matthew Wood did Ben Solo. Funny to have Matthew Wood involved again. So yeah, a lot of great cameos. So out of the three little
vignettes,
we'll call them parables.
Parables, okay, yeah.
Kind of twisted parables. Which was your favorite?
My favorite? Out of the three, oh God. So we had the Lost Boys episode, and we had the What Ifs episode with Luke Skywalker, like the Luke Skywalker
right.
and
So we
Darth
had
Vader dad's son story, which was really cute.
We had The Lost Boy, was
Right.
the first one.
Right.
So very on the nose there. The second story was the dueling monstrosities, and the third was the Wookiee's Paw.
The Wookiee's Paw, yes.
Very macabre.
So funny. Oh God. I guess probably because Wookiee's Paw. That was the Luke episode, right?
Yeah, it was the alternate look at how A
Yes.
New Hope would have gone if Luke had gone to the Imperial Academy.
Oh my God.
Which is a great what if, actually.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what he
truly-
wanted to do. He's like, I want to go join the Academy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I feel like the most, like the one that kind of made the most sense to me. So probably that one was my favorite.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too because, it's plausible. Like it was a fun like choose your own adventure. Like
Yes. Although
I could
think
see it going down this way.
my biggest laugh, which I think the one that I'm thinking about right now was the droid popping his head through the door and saying like, "Here's 19235."
Oh my God.
That tickled me. There was numerous Shining references in the episode. I thought.
Yeah, there was, and honestly,
I think they made these really adorable posters for the film. One of it is of like the iconic hotel hallway with like two porgs standing side by side, hand in hand, just like the twins from the movie. Oh my God, it's so freaking funny.
very early on in the movie, the one that made me laugh, and I don't know why, but it was something I had thought about when I was watching Rogue One, and the Emperor comes to Vader's castle to come get him to do something, and he walks in, he's like, "Yeah, I like what you've done. Could you have put a chair in here somewhere?" Like, it's like so true. It's like there's nowhere to sit remotely. Like Vader just has this giant empty castle, and
Like you couldn't have put any furniture.
you couldn't have put a chair in here.
It's not very welcoming.
I just love how silly it was, like having a Graballa the Hutt basically building a hotel casino at Darth
Just
Vader's castle, and
ridiculous.
Vinaya being the creepy caretaker.
And it's just kind of like I feel like it's also sort of making fun of like it feels like something that Disney would do. You know, we're gonna make a themed hotel out of something. Yeah,
Darth Vader's hotel.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say the Wookiee's Paw was probably my favorite for what it is, a Lego movie, which is inherently satire. I thought it was very clever and interesting to have Luke's pride be the thing that destroys the Death Star and not
Yes.
his courage. You know, like that's a good little moral there.
good
It's
moral
like,
lesson,
yeah, a bad guy's pride will cost him.
and it does.
And it does indeed.
It does indeed. But yeah,
I liked getting Maul and Grievous together when I was talking about
oh my
like
God, yes,
the sandbox of characters, like throwing your action figures at each other.
that was
I mean,
definitely one of
that
them.
was-
It's like we didn't know we needed that, but it was great.
like that absolutely was great, and it really spectacular little fight they had.
Yeah,
I mean, like for Lego fight choreography, it sounds silly to say, but I was like, wow, this is like intriguing and compelling, and
yeah.
and then we had kind of a Monty Python moment where they both like where Grievous slices him in half, and then Maul takes all of his appendages off. And then they're just two stumps.
Oh, you know what I thought was kind of interesting too? They said Grievous's name, like his actual name in the episode,
yes.
Which I was like, oh, that's fun. I don't remember ever like hearing his like real name.
Well, it's never uttered in the movies, but I learned of it, and I'm going to pull it up for pronunciation. I read about it in some old canon book a long time ago.
They definitely, obviously playing to the kid audience, but they were they're like, as Lego does, you know, giving us all a wink and a nod, you know, like to the uber adult nerds.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of
I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, so if anybody's familiar with Kalish, please let me know. But his name is Kaiman Jai Shalal.
Yeah,
and
that was way better than what I was going to say.
Well, I saw Dune last night, and I feel like there were many people named Kaiman Jai Shalal.
You
Like, I
saw
felt like that was...
Dune last night.
We'll save that for another episode.
Oh, guys. We're going to talk about it.
There's a lot to unpack there.
A lot to unpack.
But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Definitely the spookiest, I thought, of the three, as far as incorporating the Night Sisters.
But I also like the overall arcing story, too, of the, you know, and this has actually apparently been, this is something that I didn't know because I haven't really read all the comics, but this is like, this episode or like film, I guess, was loosely based off of a comic series, and there's always been like a long rumored like Sith temple underneath the Darth Vader's castle.
A nexus, or not a nexus, but a. Actually, I don't remember if they used the word nexus.
Oh shit! There you go. That's your MCU crossover.
I know.
There it is.
But I heard it first in Star Wars. But obviously, the idea of nexus belongs to Marvel Comics. But like, it's some wellspring of the Force that that Vader was looking for, and
it was right under his nose the whole time.
Well, there's a great comic where he, the ghost of some ancient Sith Lord, and I'm forgetting, so if somebody has read these comics, please chime in. But he's basically confronted by the spirit of this Sith Lord who starts to reincorporate himself, and Vader figures out that underneath his castle in this Sith wellspring lies the power to go back and change things or bring people back from the dead, and he comes very close to bringing Padme back from the dead, and he goes basically through this door into another plane of existence to try and bring her back, and it's all fraught with peril, and it's a deception, and it's all a way for the Sith Lord to get Vader out of the way, and then Vader comes to his senses, and all very, very creepy, and it goes in a direction where Star Wars has started to go, honestly.
Yeah,
like it
kind of sounds
seldom
familiar.
used to, but yeah, actually on the spooky note, that is a very spooky comic line. Anything involving Darth Vader and Sith alchemy, and
I love that shit. And they were kind of dipping their toes into that, like, and finding the holocron, and then and then it got a little obviously ridiculous in Lego fashion, like with the mecha version of
yes. Vinny becomes a giant mecha Sith Lord, and then his droid is piloting an AT-AT and Poe's in the AT-ST, and there's the big just
wonderful
ridiculousess.
Yeah, ridiculous. But my imagination runs wild because I'm just like, because it the way that they made the way that they made it look is that it wasn't like the only thing that was down there. You know, it's just like, what else is going on in this temple? You know, I other stories that they could tell. Very, very fun.
Well, and it was the subject of that whole VR experience, Vader's castle,
right?
Which actually that is canon.
Is it?
Not that matters, but it is canon, and it explains why there are trees back on Mustafar.
Right. Yeah.
Like something happened.
Like Mustafar is kind of like healing itself.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Very, very interesting.
And we were supposed to return to Mustafar. Well, we did return to Mustafar, but we were supposed to see more of it in Rise of Skywalker.
But they ruined it!
But when they rushed through it. They did rush through it. But there's that whole forest that you see at the beginning of the movie is
smoky forest.
Right, we were supposed to get a better look at that, but that's direct reference to kind of what happened in whatever VR game.
And there's apparently people living on Mustafar that we didn't.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
I did like that this movie also, it did give us a little bit of the Ben Solo origin story that we have now received in the comics, but it's a nice refresher to kind of see where
just to visualize it.
Right, where his anger and impatience leads him. And
because I think, like, obviously, like, the general feel of it wasn't canon, but, like, there were at least, like, parts of it. Like, I think, like, the broad strokes of that story, like, was canon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And just kind of being estranged from his father and just general impatience. You see a similar path to the one Anakin took. And,
absolutely. I did love they kind of were making fun of, really kind of like poking fun at the fans because, like, we, complained about, or I would say we, not me, but we as Star Wars fans complained about how Rey, became such an incredible Jedi and, like, a fighter, and she, like, barely had any training. And then, we look at the original series, and it was like the same, the same thing.
No, but that was always a ridiculous
argument
critique to have.
Yeah,
because
same.
they were like, well, you could see Luke training. It's like, well, yeah, but Luke didn't train that long with Yoda.
Right, and
I think the whole thing.
I think that doesn't he have he has a line that he says, he's like what, like, Luke only trained for like 20 minutes.
yeah, right. And when we're talking about, like, the line of Skywalker, or I guess in Rey's case, the line of Palpatine.
Well, with a dash of Skywalker, because, in order to get that clone, they needed his hand. Allegedly.
Yeah, but they've kind of backtracked on that already.
Did they really already?
Yeah, with some new material.
Oh, Jesus. I just
anyway.
don't. Anyway, we digress.
We can't get too far into that, but when you look at characters like a Skywalker, or I guess a Palpatine, they are so powerful with the Force innately that someone just needs to teach them how to channel it, how to access it. But
well, that's like like anybody can learn to sing, but not everybody is going to be Aretha Franklin, you know?
Right. Well, and Luke was a great pilot from a young age. So was Anakin. I mean, like, they had incredible reflexes. Like,
totally.
It was just, God given, or in this case, Force given, and so why that's different with Rey, I couldn't tell you, but or I could tell you, but that's for another time.
That was another thing I appreciated, that they made the story about my boyfriend Poe.
Ah, yes.
I do love him so much.
Well, and that is a great point, because the first one was about Rey.
Right.
The Christmas special last year was about Rey.
Mm-hmm.
We got Poe this time, so I bet next year we have, like, a Valentine's Day John Boyega.
Oh my God! Oh, there's something to look forward to.
Like, or Easter or something. Just like
an Easter episode. Get out! Oh my God.
St. Patrick's Day.
The Star Wars Easter Bunny. Oh man.
The Force is strong with you.
Oh, Lady Day.
Lady Day, the Force is strong with you. But yeah, I like what they did here. I would show my theoretical kids this movie. I think they'd get a kick out of it.
My theoretical kids loved it too.
Lego's always really on the money with their satire and
I know exactly what they're doing.
And very thinly veiled critique at some points.
Totally, yeah. They're very much not afraid to point the finger at themselves.
Inconsistencies and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend it, Daniel? Would you recommend it to the masses?
Yes, 100%. It's I think that if you got time before the Halloween season's over, even after, if you're into spooky stuff, why not? It's spooky fun. Do it. Watch it, you bitch.
Do it.
Do it.
All right. So, when we're talking about the entire Star Wars saga,
There's a lot of spooky out there.
In the whole canon collection of it, what are some of the spooky either moments or characters or creatures that stand out to you?
I mean, truly, the scariest moment in all of Star Wars is by far B. Arthur's performance in the holiday special.
I think we could just end it there because there's no point in talking about anything else.
No, it is the scariest thing. Really, not even in Star Wars, just of all
time.
Of all time. But I mean, to be perfectly frank, oh gosh, there are so many things. What do you want to do?
Really
should we just go like one? I'll do one and then you do one kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. Tit for tat.
Okay, a tit for tat. All right. I'll my Annie up. It's Anakin's dismemberment.
Yeah.
Scene. That to me like affected me. I was like, it was like, I mean, obviously very sad, but like that scared the shit out of me when I was younger.
Yeah, it's really troubling. And once you kind of, in the original trilogy, once you figure out what happened to Vader, and the only time you figure that out is when Luke pulls his helmet off, and your first thought is,
yikes,
how the hell? And then waiting through 2.5 prequel movies to be like, oh my God, okay, so at some point he's got to be just grievously injured. And
grievously injured.
Right. And it did not disappoint. He was...
Yep. You really gave it to him.
You watch him get incinerated. They were pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, like this is a PG-13 film, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, if George Lucas truly made Star Wars for 8 and 9-year-olds like he said he did,
I have a feeling that I want to know if there was ever, like, I'm sure there was meetings, like, you know, with the higher ups.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that in a PG-13 film. He's like, no, we have to do it. It has to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I just wonder how much pushback there was for that. I'm glad that they put it in, though, because it was very effective.
Well, that whole sequence.
It was just the best part of the film.
And I think it's one of the better acted moments. You do have 2 good actors there.
Yeah, totally.
And Ewan McGregor just screaming, I loved you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. And then you have, of course, John Williams can make anything high art with the score. And yeah, that's a great one. That's a really devastating moment.
Tit for tat. Quid pro quo.
Okay, I'm going to go. I'm actually going to delve into the movie we take a lot of pot shots at. I think a lot of people take pot shots at. The last installment in the Skywalker saga, The Rise of Skywalker.
Yep. Just the whole movie in general.
The plot structure. No, this is a positive.
We kid.
We're being positive here because there are some great moments in the movie.
Yes, and truthfully,
because it's Star Wars. It's friggin' Star Wars.
Yeah, and we love Star Wars, and we also love to make fun of Star Wars.
Yes, because we love it. But a genuinely creepy moment in that movie is right at the beginning where
100%.
Ben Solo goes into the Sith temple and you see the cloning vats and all of these masked little gremlins running around and tending to things, and then
all the while hearing
Palpatine, and then having his face illuminated by just quick bolts of electricity, lightning, and I mean he's a zombie at this point.
This was 100% on my list too. Yeah.
And I remember looking over at Alyssa. I was sitting on like Alyssa's left side and like, oh my God.
Oh God. Yeah, and also, like, if you're out there, like, just seeing movies in, like, normal screens, I mean, obviously, like, if that's all you got, then you know, good for you. But, like, if you have the option to be seeing it in IMAX, like, at, like, a decent, like, really good theater, guys, like, seeing it at the Chinese theater, like, they're not afraid to, like, because they know that, like, the people that are going there, like, we love cinema. So, like, bump that shit up. They always turn on the volume super loud. The subwoofers are, like,
rumbling.
Ooh. So, like, hearing, like, Palpatine's voice like reverberating through your chest. Like there is just something so powerful and terrifying about it. It was so well done. Yeah, I loved that.
And you know what? I don't want to get
Good
into
sound design.
We've done a critique of Rise of Skywalker very early on this podcast, and so I don't want to get into that. But
yeah,
I think that moment is kind of what ended up
that was our
disappointing me.
beginnings of our podcast.
Right, like the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that moment is what kind of disappointed me because there was so much potential in that moment. And we've talked, too, at length about had we not known Palpatine was in the movie, what that moment would have been like.
Woo! Yeah.
Just how expectations change how you actually view it. And
the audience would have lost their
it would have been a lot
shit.
scarier, too. It'd be like, oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
There's little zombie Palpatine over here.
Yikes, yikes, yikes.
But yes, that was really all of the Exegol throne room scenes are just kind of unnerving, which is
I think that the
really nice.
The design and the cinematography, they did a really good job making it
the
like
lighting.
a literal horror film. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, tit for tat. I'm gonna just say, generally, all of the Night Sister episodes of Clone Wars, like especially like, there's so many like the ones where they're like basically bringing people back from the dead. It's like almost like I don't know. They did some really spooky shit, and I up until that point, I did not know that like that was even a thing in the Star Wars world, and I was just like, oh man, this is dark.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the episode too when Dooku or when Sidious sends Grievous and the Separatist army to go wipe out the Night Sisters and rescue because they'd kidnap Dooku or have him captured, and they have this basically undead army Night Sisters. It's really spooky.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's sort of a this is sort of connected but not. But like, if you ever play Jedi Fallen Order, like there's
it's very connected.
Yeah,
there's references to it. Like
totally.
there's references to the aftermath of them getting wiped out.
Yeah, and you just kind of see just like how bodies are buried there, and like just like all of it, just like the whole aesthetic is really, really scary.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, very unnerving. I'm going to tap into some nostalgia. So I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but I remember seeing Empire Strikes Back, the special edition, when it was released in, I guess it was 97 or 98. I don't remember which summer that was. And the moment, and I knew it was coming, too, as a kid, and that's why I was so freaked out during that movie. I was already thoroughly spooked sitting through the previews because I just didn't like loud noises at the time.
Oh, same.
I had tons of ear infections as a kid, so my ears were just super sensitive. And
I didn't even have a reason for it. I just was like,
I just got spooked.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a trailer to the movie Volcano but before the movie started, and I believe we left the theater. Because
in the middle of the movie?
In the middle of the preview.
Oh,
gotcha. I couldn't do the Volcano preview.
Okay. Oh, absolutely not.
I've since seen Volcano.
It's not that scary.
It's what it is.
Yeah, it's hilarious and wonderful.
Yes, it is.
It's
so I
no
was already
Dante's Peak.
It's no Dante's Peak because James Bond isn't in it.
Right. Correct.
So I was already thoroughly on edge. But near the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, you'll know that Luke is savagely mauled by a Wampa snow beast.
Yeah.
And that sent me over the edge as a kid.
That puppet with like the blood all over his face, yeah, that's a little.
Well, just the jump scare and the and in the special edition they added footage in. They expanded on that scene, so you see the Wampa, which is actually a guy in a suit.
Yes.
A very well designed suit. Munching on the tauntaun and blood dripping off of its mouth.
Yeah,
that was not in the original.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my god.
Because the original version was like super busted, apparently.
Right. So that always scared the hell out of me.
Same. Totally same.
Yeah.
Okay, tit for tat. squeets and squat. Oh yeah. The Clone Wars again. Maul's spider return.
Oh, yeah.
Like him just freaking the fuck out as a spider.
Oh, yeah.
In the trash. Like it's just like horrifically. What a great way to bring him back. Like it was just like, and it really is just a testament to Sam Witwer's acting abilities and like letting him just go there
and be mentally damaged and.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, actually, because this feeds right into the Night Sisters, I like how they depicted the Night Sisters basically pulling the insanity out of Darth Maul. And there's like, it's represented by, kind of a green, or I don't remember if it was green or black kind of mist that pours out of his skull. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She actually pulled the depression out of him. Could she do that for...
yeah, it's like, I
do
need
that
a
for
little
everyone
session.
Yeah, just a little session of just extract a little bit of my soul. That would be good.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. No. Anything with animated Maul in particular was... The menace there is, no pun intended, Phantom Menace.
Yeah, right. And, actually, I mean, sometimes it's not even, like... I mean, maybe it's not necessarily scary, but haunting for sure.
Yes.
I think that, like, his performance as Maul, like, in a lot of the episodes are just, like they stick with you. Like one of his most iconic moments of him just screaming Kenobi. Like, and like at the end, in the final season that we got, when he was just like, we're all gonna burn, like that.
Yes.
Just such a haunting.
That was on my list.
Oh, it is? Sorry, I stole that.
Well, no, it's fine. I mean, talking about it right now. And there are a couple of shots in that Siege of Mandalore arc with Maul where he's basically Hannibal Lecter. They have him
totally.
The Mandalorians have him in that Force inhibitor box, basically, and all you can see is his orange eyes just peering out through it, and he can sense when Order 66 starts to kick off, and his eyes just open, and there's just like this terror and. Yeah, I mean, well, while we're on that, Order 66.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just like all these people being murdered, like, by their best friends, basically.
I mean, that was troubling as a kid.
Very troubling.
Because you knew, again, it was something else you knew was coming, but I think what Revenge of the Sith does actually really well is, even though you know it's coming, you start to forget about it.
Yeah.
It leaves enough hope. Like, there's enough hope built into the story that...
It's like, maybe they're going to retcon.
maybe Anakin will make the right choice here, or...
But he doesn't.
And how close it came. Like, he was really on a knife's edge. But the Order 66 is a tough watch. And again, I think it's aided significantly by John Williams and the horror and the...
Vagina.
The grief.
And the vagina.
Yeah, I imagine you would find that horrifying.
So I sort of stole that one from you, so you can.
No, you didn't steal. No, we can share some.
We can share. So well, one of the last ones I wrote down. I mean, and maybe possibly scarier than B. Arthur's performance. And I'm sure this is probably on your list too, but Darth Vader in Rogue One. His hallway of terror.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely is terrifying, but I was that guy who was fist pumping.
You're like, yeah, get him!
It's like, oh, this is just... Not like in a I want him to murder these people, but it was like, we've never seen like Vader depicted this way on screen before, and it's just a quick little thing, but it's like, oh.
But yeah, truthfully, for me, it was probably one of the scariest, like, if not the scariest Star Wars moment, because like I like just the complete darkness, and then seeing his and almost
hear his breath, and
then you like it almost gets. Like, when the door opens, you think there would be more light, but it actually gets darker. And then you see his red, like, lightsaber, and you don't see him yet. And then you just, oh, my God. it was beautifully filmed, and yeah, the sound, just all of it together is so perfectly terrifying. And really also what sold it too is I should not downplay the extras in that scene, like played up the terror so well.
Man,
because like you feel their horror and like we're right there with them. Like it's
just
so
pounding
great.
on the door, and then you see the saber come through the door and split the guy in half. And, like,
Yeah, oof.
just how it's choreographed, him nailing a guy to the ceiling and then splitting him, like, it's just
lots of that is a spooky moment.
it's very like Jason Voorhees, like
sure.
the silent killer who says nothing and just
Yes, yeah, totally Friday the 13th or Michael Myers, yeah, definitely.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's super spooky, but if you wanted kind of a Halloween ambiance, I think about all the stuff in Jabba's palace and Return of the Jedi.
Sure.
Just all of the denizens hanging out in this really dimly lit.
I mean, when I first watched it in like the early '80s, like I was, that all of that stuff used to spook me out.
Well,
like,
the Rancor pit, the Rancor pit, like dropping Ula the slave down the hatch. I was like, okay, that's.
But I mean, honestly, I was a pussy
creepy
when I was a kid. I mean, like even the part like when Leia is like recovering Han Solo from the carbonite, like even that part scared me.
Yeah.
You know, because something about that imagery was like spooky to me. Like I guess seeing him frozen there, and
yeah. Okay, I have a final one. Snoke.
Yeah.
And I, again, put this more in the category of ultimately a bit disappointing.
Certainly.
But conceptually speaking, Snoke is tough to look at. And Andy Serkis is such an amazing physical actor.
Phenomenal.
And a vocal actor. And his whole scene where he's berating Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And he has this moment, and I always think about it when I think of Last Jedi. It's this tiny little moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben says something to him like, but I've done everything. I've given everything to the dark side. And Snoke interrupts him, and but under his breath and between his teeth, he's like, take that ridiculous thing off.
Yeah. It's like, ugh.
It's like Palpatine's always super either over the top or very understated, but Snoke, what Andy Serkis did in this moment was he was able to jump from like levity to fury and then like simmering rage, which you don't see a whole lot of, but just take that ridiculous thing off.
Yeah, like a little mommy dearest moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
just being disfigured and knowing how, just kind of the juxtaposition of knowing how feeble he is on the one hand, because he kind of limps back to his throne. And this guy's a broken, as we find out, just a broken vessel clone, but who also was immensely powerful. I think that's a pretty terrifying
even
image.
As a broken clone, he still had like as much power as he did. Yeah, like the scene where like it starts out really funny, but then like seeing General Hux basically just getting thrown around the room, like he gets slammed against the floor really fast, and then I mean that it's funny but also terrifying, like to see that much power from so far away too. Snoke was an imposing figure.
Yes, I had such hope for him.
Yeah. But hey, you know, if he was a clone, I guess we could get him again in some other form.
We could, and they have indeed, I guess since we're on the topic, they've come up with probably a more official explanation.
Oh, good.
For what is going on there, and that Snoke was indeed, we knew this already, was indeed the most successful cloning effort, or rather, think of him more as a vessel. He was intended to be a vessel for Palpatine's soul.
Right.
But they quickly discovered that this Snoke, even though he was successful in basically living in a way that the others were not, he still was not powerful enough to house Palpatine, but he did prove powerful enough to serve the purpose of turning Ben Solo. So that's Snoke.
That is canon, ladies and gentlemen.
That is canon.
'Tis canon.
So, such as it is.
Such as. Do you have any other spooky things?
I mean, I'm thinking about the cantina. I'm thinking of
we didn't even talk about Mandalorian. There was some like spooky stuff in there. I mean, they literally had
anytime,
like an alien episode.
Anytime. Well, yeah, the spider. Remember the spiders? Like the. It was, I guess, season 2, like episode 3, the spiders. That was creepy. But anytime Baby Yoda, Grogu was in any sort of danger was as terrifying as it gets. Like if something happens to that boy,
you take my baby.
Someone at Disney is getting assassinated.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, that's a great point. Anytime Grogu was remotely in danger was the scariest moment in Star Wars.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, I 100% agree. Was that it?
What do you mean, was that
a spooky, spectacular episode?
Spooky, spectacular episode. If you have any favorite spooky Star Wars moments, be it a jump scare, a character, a moment, leave a comment.
Yeah.
And tell us what you're doing for Halloween.
Let's nerd out with you. I would like it very much. Oh, shit, before we go, I don't think we talked about this because we haven't had an episode since, but they made a pretty cool announcement about our good old friend Hayden Christensen making his way into the Ahsoka Tano Disney Plus series. Oh my God.
Guys, we're getting live action Clone Wars stuff.
Oh, literally, like, if he is a freaking... Oh my God! If he comes back as a Force ghost and he like says, "Hey, Snips," I will literally lose my shit. I will sob my eyes out.
And it might very well be Force Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It might also, what I suspect, is flashbacks.
Yeah, very, very
like
plausibly.
live action, like in the shit of the Clone Wars, and we'll see Anakin and Ahsoka for the first time on a big screen.
Just imagine.
Now, what's interesting, it depends on the press release you read. Some have said he is returning to the Ahsoka series as Darth Vader.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, you know what? I could see literally all three, and they could use all three
exactly
forms
right,
of him.
because the Ahsoka series takes place around the time of the Mandalorian, so all of this will be in the past anyway, as it pertains to Hayden Christensen.
I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but it seems that the Ahsoka show isn't going to be like an origin story, because we've already seen her origin story for the most part. But I
believe it's her.
I was gonna say they're gonna at least have to touch on it, just kind of get people primed for who this. If for the people that are just watching the live actions and not the cartoons, they're gonna have to give us at least a taste of it, to be why should we care about Anakin's and her relationship? You know what I mean? There's a very, very specific reason. They're very special to each other,
right?
And just best friends basically, and it's so their story is just as tragic as any other Star Wars story. So I'm not sure if he's going to be a huge part of the series, but I'm very glad that they're going to at least touch on it.
Yeah, and I think the assumption is that series is going to be Ahsoka looking for our boy Ezra.
Yeah, that feels right.
So that's going to be. I can't believe all of these things are converging.
It is just
it's going to be it's been a great time to be a Star Wars fan, even with some of the unevenness of how the Skywalker saga ended.
Yeah,
there's some great stuff happening.
Really good stuff. Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
Even more things that they haven't even announced yet.
Right.
I can't wait to hear about what that actually is, and we
got Kenobi next year as well, and Mando season 3, and
guys, we're gonna have some guests on the show to talk about the Obi-Wan series when it comes out. So stay tuned for that.
Indeed.
But yeah, I guess that's it. Do you want
Happy Halloween, you creeps.
Yeah, happy Halloween, you spooky spookers, spookity-tastic, spookalicious.
And happy
People.
Halloween, Alyssa. Glad you're happy making your choices.
Yeah,
not
you
being
made
here.
good choices. You did. Making money is important.
Making all the money. How dare you. All right. Well, as always, I'm Dino Nicandros.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
May the Force...
Simmons.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and
Oh, may the Force
subscribe.
be with you.
Always. See ya.